In the ocean of my complex feelings and attachments to Palestine, I came up with nothing. Every day I see the most beautiful characteristics of my people in Palestine and Lebanon, and every day I learn new things that deepen the saturation of my love for these people. In all my overwhelming love and infinite devastation for Palestine, I couldn't form it into words to explain to you. Instead, I found something that conveyed the same emotion that I could give to you. Abdullah Shafa'i was a nurse working at Al-Shifa Hospital before the war and displacement, and now every day fights for the survival of his wife and two young daughters, Swad and Misk. He has been keeping a diary of stories from displacement on his Instagram page, and I always found his words to be particularly haunting, and I wanted to share a few stories with you today. Just yesterday, Abdullah wrote, "A full year of death, a full year of fatigue, displacement, and suffering. A full year and we are trying to survive every day, and in the moment I write this, there is bombing everywhere, and the smell of blood fills all over Gaza. A full year and it indicates every day that the cheapest thing in this world is human life." In another post, Abdullah wrote, "After a full year of displacement, I live in a rented house that lacks all human characteristics amongst the destruction of my city and all that was left of my residence. Today, I was sitting next to the wall at noon with my daughter Swad and Misk, and the sounds of bombing were everywhere. I'm trying to pick up the weak internet signal to check the news. I turned my head to the shadow of a beautiful 20-something girl standing next to me. I tried quickly to remember if I knew her before, but she did not give me time to think. She said to me in a low voice after her face turns red as she took out a small plate from under her abaya, 'Are you buying corn for your daughters?' I expected her to be anything but a food seller. It was clearly her first experience selling. She is forced and disturbed. She left against her will for compelling reasons. I told her I would buy, but I continue, 'It's clear that you are young. Are you a student?' She replied brokenly and ashamed, 'I am a second-year medical student at Al-Azhar University.' I couldn't ask more than that. I was afraid she would burst into tears in the street. I let it go like all the hundreds of thousands of lost and needy people whose lives became humiliation after glory and dignity. They no longer know their old selves before the extermination, tense, and displacement." In another story, Abdullah wrote, "I was returning home after sunset. I rode with a driver in a small car. He turned on the radio to a song with the volume high. I did not know the song or the singer, but it was clear that it was a wedding song. After hesitation, I asked him if this was appropriate. He didn't look at me. The cigarette remained in his mouth for a few moments before he responded to me. Believe me, I work every day in the evening at a loss. I told him that I noticed that you keep working even when there's so few passengers. He looked at me with sad eyes. I can't stay at night alone. The night is hard and cruel and makes me crazy. I run away from it while on the road. I'm trying to forget." I asked him fearfully, "Forget what?" He took a deep breath from the cigarette as if he was preparing to fire a bomb from his mouth. "My wife and children. What happened to them?" "They were bombed and murdered, all of them killed. I was left alone." On August 26th, Abdullah shared another story. "I heard a phone call between a mother and her daughter while I was in the truck. 'Mom, I want to see you. I miss you. For more than 2 months since our displacement from Rafah, I have not seen you. I call you every day, but there is no network or your phone is shut off. My children miss you. They ask me about you every day. Where is your tent located? I also miss you, my daughter, and the children, but by God, I do not know exactly where we are. Your father says we were in Mawasi, Khan Yunis. We are also in Mawasi, so we are close to each other. What's your address exactly? By God, my daughter, since we ran away at night and then came here, I only see tents around us from every side. I don't even know the directions around here. I hear the roar of the sea. We are close to it. I also also hear the buzzing of planes and the sound of bombing, which is also close to us, especially at night when it intensifies. Wait a minute, let me ask your father about our location. He says we are after Abu Adnan's tent, 4 tents from the other side. Where is Abu Adnan's tent? I don't know where it is. Your father says his tent is very apparent. It is bigger than ours in the middle of many tents. It has a black shade on it, a broken solar panel. Where are these many tents? What is the street name? It is the street on the side of the sea. It is Al-Mawasi. Wait a minute, your father may be able to give you our address better than me. Hi Dad, thank God for your safety. What is your exact address? We're close to the seashore, my daughter, behind Aboud, the barber's tent. And where is Aboud's tent? Right next to the main asphalt on the eastern line of tents. Next to Aboud's tent, there is another tent for selling canned and food water. Another Navy tent with a sign that says Beit Hanoun. Where is it, and what does Beit Hanoun have to do with your tent? No, my daughter, we are in Al-Mawasi, but the owner of the tent is Hanouni. He longs to return to his city, Beit Hanoun, so he wrote his name on the tent in hope he would return there. How do I get to you? If the location of Aboud or Abu Adnan's tent, could they find it? I don't know, my daughter. We are all newly displaced here. There are no addresses, no street numbers, no signs, and no names for our neighborhoods and homes. They are not knowable. We left behind our identities and familiar features to those who knew us. We are similar here only by our tents and our villages. We are similar in our needs, thirsts, hopes, pain, and wandering. Tomorrow I will walk along the street to look for your tent myself, tent by tent. No, my daughter, will you look for us among 1 million displaced people crowded together in tents? You'll be looking for a needle in a haystack. I miss seeing you, but it hurts me to see your fatigue. You in the heat of the sun and further loss. Maybe after a day or two, we will have an address for our tent that can make it easier for you to find us. They said they will set up zinc water baths by our tent. You may find our address, or perhaps we will return to our old homes, despite their destruction. We are lost now, and we do not know what will happen to us, not even in the next hour. Wait, just tell me a little more. I will try to get to you tomorrow. I'll go out in the morning. I can bear the sun and being lost. Hello, can you hear me? The line has been disconnected. I would have thought this was a marginal problem for those living in the tents if I had not seen the joy at the door of the tent near us. They told us it was the joy of their daughter finding them after 2 days of searching for them in a forest of tents, extending across the coastal strip a distance of 22 kilometers and more than 1.5 million people. But I realized how important these stories were. They were human stories that seemed small, not covered by the media, but they were worth entire worlds. It is one of the tragedies of the great tent prison that Gaza has become. The tragedy of getting lost and losing addresses. The sheer difficulty of transportation and communications that prevent hundreds of thousands of seeing their family, of hearing their voices, or simply visiting them and checking up on them despite such a short distance between them. I wanted to thank you all again today for being here, and please help us support more families like Hibas and Abdullah's. Thank you.